Welcome to the Daily Dish with Leanne Ely. This is a show about you, your life, and the vibrancy you want. Join us for daily motivation, wise women's tips, and more as we collectively gather together and move the needle in our lives, heart, mind, body, and soul. Now, here is your host, Leanne Ely, and the Daily Dish.
Hello, lovelies. Little change in venue. Welcome. This is Leah's house, and this is Leah's bedroom that we're staying in, and we are in Boulder, Colorado right now, enjoying ourselves and having a great time. But I'm really glad to be here, and thank you so much for popping on by. Kathy, Nancy, Jocelyn, so good to see you. Noreen is in the house. So is Sharon, and so is the Dream Team. To Jenny and Amber and lovely Lindsay, all here, all willing to help and be with you. Hope you're having a great day. Catherine, good to have you here. This whole week is going to be kind of it's going to be a little bit of a hodgepodge with we're going to have some replays. We're going to have some new content today. Hi, Darla, Erica, good to have you here. And Diane, thank you, Diane. I appreciate that. We just were having some snow for a little while, and we're very appreciative of snow when we're going skiing in these next couple of days. Hey there, Flynn. That's so good to have you here. So if we start the new week, we start a new theme, and we start with a new quote. Look at this one. We drop this one on you. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Willing is not enough. We must do. Yeah, right? We know this, but sometimes it's a little difficult. Flynn is in the house. So is Martha. Angie, hello. Anyway, good quotes. This is, if you ever wonder what should I write in my journal, why don't you write down one of these quotes and start pondering it and start thinking it through and writing about it. I think it really is super helpful. And it helps to stir the pot of your soul. That's what I think. Anyway, this week we have a new supplement as well. And you're going to like this one, especially those of you who are like me and you take this every single morning without fail. I'm talking Leptifix. Leptifix. If you buy 3, you're going to get the 4th one for free. And you know what that means? That means this is going to take you for a spin around the block. I'm telling you. Hey there, Jennifer, Kimberly. Wonderful supplement. Wouldn't be without it. This is proprietary. This is ours. This actually helps you to fix your leptin, which is a hormone that lives in your fat. And as you start to lose the fat, well, guess what? Your leptin breaks. The irony of it all. But we can fix it. We can fix it. Vanessa, this is for you. Look at this. Buy 3, get 1 free. Vanessa's a huge fan. I know this about her and Leptifix. So this is the time to get it. Go to savingdinner.com/show and go get stocked up. This is the way to do it. Corliss, congratulations. I was reading about your huge success with the sprint this week. Good for you. Proud of you, by the way. Hi, Doris. And Sharon takes it first thing in the morning, too. You might say Sharon's had some success. She's really done an amazing job with her sprinting. Yeah. It's not so bad when you start feeling good, isn't it? Is it? We also have some other things that I want to tell you about. First of all, the Hot Melt 30 webinar we did last Thursday. You can get into the Hot Melt 30 coming up on Monday, April 1st. That's when we begin for the whole 30 days. We're going to be doing kind of a hot melt sprint, but a little bit different, more recipes. We're adding in the mindset piece. We're adding in all the pieces, not to pile on, but instead to show you how much, how we can do hard things, and we can, with a system, get them all done. That's what the Hot Melt 30 is about. Yes, there you go. Vanessa knows. Yes, you know what, Vanessa, she knows. We both take 2 in the morning. So the label says 1. I say take 2. So, and it's not going to, the ingredients aren't going to like turn on you and make you have diarrhea or anything like that. But yeah, this is the stuff. Anyway, Hot Melt 30, go check it out. Just check out the page. Go to savingdinner.com/30. There's a webinar there that you can watch. It's short and brief. There's a ton of questions at the end, which I anticipated. And that's really what the webinar was for. And I will tell you, We've set it all up for you to be very, very successful. So go take a peek-see at that, would you? Hi, Nancy. Cheers. I didn't bring my hot milk mix with me. I just really am sad about that. Hey, Gracie, I'm glad you're here. The other thing is a couple of other things. On the 31st of this month, we are having a gut webinar. We're calling it a gut punch rather, because you know what the thing is? There's so much going on in your gut, even more so than we thought a year ago, 2 years ago, or whatever. Can you believe that? I can. And the new research out, the connection between your gut and your health, your gut and your waistline, your gut and your everything is absolutely jaw-dropping. I want you there. savingdinner.com/gut to go get your seat. It's free, of course. However, I would also like to remind you that if you cannot make webinars, we always provide the replay. All right. So get it regardless. savingdinner.com/gut. Go get it. Hey, Laura. I'm glad you're here. Joanna, I'm glad you're here too. Full Bloom, 2 Full Bloom events. The first one is in April. That is Saturday, April 23rd, and that is happening virtually. So what are you waiting for? Go get signed up for it. It's really easy. Go to savingdinner.com/bloom. Now, here's something I want you to remember. We always out deliver, overperform, whatever you want to say for this event. You're going to get swag that's worth more than the cost of admission. That's number one. Number two, you are going to walk away knowing how to make magic in your own life. That's what this whole thing is about. If you go to savingdinner.com/bloom, you can go there and go get your seat taken. And let me also say this. When you purchase this event, it's an all-day event for Saturday. You will get this and you'll be able to replay it as many times as you want. Maybe there's something there that you just went, yum, yum, yum. I need to hear more of that, or I need to go back with that. Well, we're going to give you the whole lowdown on how to do this and how to really optimize the usefulness of this whole event. Okay? Check it out at savingdinner.com/bloom. I'm really excited about this one. This one's got me hopping out of my seat. Can you imagine? Yes. Hello, Sue. Yes, you are. I am a vacation lovely. That's right. I am a vacation lovely. I like it. Thank you, Catherine. She says she loves the replays. Yeah, we just tell you to timestamp the different things. That's the thing that you need to do. Now, there you go, right there. An in-person event is coming from July 29th through the 30th. You're going to want to get on top of this one too. But all I want you to do right now, because our page is not ready, all I want you to do right now is to reserve the time. Look at flights if you're going to fly, or your route if you're going to drive. Get a hotel. Now, Asheville is our closest airport, but Greenville, South Carolina, and Charlotte, North Carolina are both just as close, and you can get a car and drive in. It's going to be held in my home, or if we get too big, we have another reservation for a larger venue. Now, let me just tell you something. You don't want to miss this, because it's going to be the first time in 3 years we've done an in-person event, just because of a certain pandemic, which shall not be named, by the way. So I do want you there. And let me just say, it's going to be quite the event, and you're going to get to see all your favorite people. It's going to be a fun thing. Q&A is on Fridays. So go ahead and send your email to support@savingdinner.com and put your question for Leanne on Friday in the subject line. Would you do that early for me? With me being here and my son coming in tomorrow and the skiing and all this other kind of stuff, my schedule's a little bit all over the block, but I'm going to make time for your question and answers. But I would really appreciate those questions coming in early so we can get it recorded for you and put it in the hopper. We're going to be flying on Friday, so there's that. Lastly, we have a text message application. Did you know about it? Because that's where all the great values are going to come. I mean, you think our supplement of the week deal is good? It is. It's fantastic. What do you see what we send you via text? But you got to sign up. Text the word join, all in caps, to this phone number, 855-960-3720, and then you will be added to our text message list. Now, but, you're not done. Watch for the message that comes back after you do this, because you will have to confirm that you want to do this. All you have to do is reply yes. It's that simple. All right, deal? Are we in their cap? Everything's sensitive. So join is all in capital letters, and so is the word yes when you're confirming. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, it won't happen. You know how things are. Technology. All right, let's get on with it. Let's talk about subject of the week, or at least of the day, shall we say, because the chances are we might have some best ofs coming your way this week. But I was thinking about this because of last night we were having a big discussion about where we're going to go skiing and everything. And we decided we're going to go to Copper. First of all, we all knew the mountain. We've been skiing there several times. Secondarily, when we lived here and had ski passes, that was the one that we used to go to all the time. And I love the long runs. And, I'm not down for going down Black Diamond runs anymore. You can call it what it is. I'm just risk aversion. I'm not going to do that anymore. But good grief, when we started looking at first getting ski passes, because remember, we used to buy ski passes at the beginning of the season. It was just a whole different story than buying a day pass. And boy, oh boy, did we have a rude awakening. Skiing's really gotten expensive. It was never cheap. It's not a cheap sport. Super fun, but it's not a cheap sport. And boy, has it gotten expensive. And, the thing that I was thinking about last night was, yeah, you'd pay a lot of money up front to go get your ski pass, but you'd save a lot in the long run because you'd use it. You'd go skiing at least once a week or so, and it just made sense. And it wasn't quite as, costly. Hi there, Peggy. I'm glad you're off today. And Jama, good to see you. But there is a trade-off for skiing, right? You either pay it all up front, or you pay it by the day, where it's a little less expensive, but there's still pain involved. There's still your opening of your wallet. And you save big time if you have a big vision and a longer view of how you're going to pay for that versus the short-term vision and just, paying it right then and there. So interesting. You know where I'm going with all of this. Because everything, not just skiing, has an opportunity cost. Everything. Think about it. Everything. If you're right now working in your career and trying to figure things out and trying to think, how am I going to get a promotion? How am I going to get, this new job or even a new track or whatever? There's work involved. It's not pain-free. There's a cost involved on that. And you don't get your dream job by not laying the foundation and by not being present with it and taking a course in order to land that. It doesn't land in your lap. It's not luck and happenstance. Every once in a while you'll hear about something that happened that way. But come on. In real life, there's a lot more to it than that. So you lay the foundation, you do the work, and surprise, surprise, you diligent enough and focused enough, and it is going to happen for you. Maybe not that exact dream job, but your dream job, yes, it will appear. And the same thing was with your health. You don't wish for optimal health, you work for it. There's something that comes a lot with that. You start making better choices, you actively choose the better option, and you do it consistently. Not with just a long-term view, but also on the short term, because the short term is producing the long-term result. You knew it, you feel it, you see the difference, and so you're willing to pay that cost. And then, like when it comes to health, and your food and all of that, and we just got off the sprint, for heaven's sakes. How did everyone do, by the way? Pinkies up for all you sprinters. I saw some really nice results in there. Good for you for getting in there and getting that work done. That's consistency. And there's pain involved in that. Isn't that the truth? Come on, there is. You have to maybe make a decision, like you're going to dump your beloved fill in the blank in terms of using this instead, taking this on instead, having this instead. The pain in choice, the pain in saying, oh, but I really want that whatever. Flynn says her skin feels great. Sue's still going at it. And then we got some pinkies going up. These are women who made choices, by the way. And, when we dump damaging fats like margarine and cooking oils, and then we're just thinking, okay, so, the fix is we're going to pay a little bit more for a more expensive oil. We're going to pay a little bit more for butter. So there's your swap right there, but it isn't without cost, is it? It isn't. And then, the other thing, when we start giving up snacks, we might miss the evening popcorn with the family or ice cream or whatever. But we start opting for the Target trifecta meal, and then we start saying things like, Flynn, my skin feels great. We start feeling, and what was it that I noticed Peggy saying that, the inflammation leaving, you start feeling that, but you paid a cost to get there. It wasn't free. It wasn't easy. There was a shift in how you thought about it and the choice that you made because of it. Short-term and long-term thinking, right? Short-term and long-term thinking. Because we don't measure just by what's between our toes on the scale or even the measuring tape. We measure by how we feel. We measure by how we feel. And I will never forget when I went very deep in, when I recognized that everything had a cost. This is me standing on the precipice of how am I going to handle this whole Hashimoto's thing as I got sicker and sicker, more and more tired, as I kept gaining weight, the inflammation kept coming, and it was just, there was no end in sight. And there was a decision that had to be made. Which cost am I willing to pay? The cost of change or the cost of staying the same and getting worse? There's a cost. There's a cost for good health. And there's also a cost for poor health, And one of those, the long-term version of poor health is not a pretty picture. And at one point, the drugs are just not going to contain the symptoms any longer before you tumble on into a full-blown disease. And with, not that you're able to perfectly fix everything. I mean, I've told you my Hashimoto stories a million times. I got rid of a whole bunch of stuff. I got back a Hashimoto, that showed me I still had Hashimoto's, yes, but that all, all goiters and nodules and all that stuff, all gone. So I had lost the weight, I had lost the pain, I felt like $1,000,000, but I still take thyroid medication. What does that mean? Is that a ding that I didn't do it, that I didn't accomplish it? No. It's just showing you that sometimes we can't go all the way and capture back what was once ours. Maybe we can't, but we can certainly make an improvement. What about that? What about that idea? So, when we give up those snacks and we're instead opting for Target trifecta meals, we pay a little bit of a price. There's a little pain when you say, no, I'm not going to eat that popcorn tonight. No, I'm not going to do that. But you know what? The reward is plentiful. It is plentiful. And that short-term funsy in enjoying this little snacky, it just doesn't even compare to that long-term version, does it? And that vision. Same with hydrating appropriately. I one time had a woman who, honest to God, she drank a 6-pack of Mountain Dew every day. 6-pack. That's a lot of soda. And she told me that, she said, that's nothing compared to what my husband does or, whatever. And she was telling me about all this soda that was coming into the house and what have you. And we just made a deal. What if you just gave that up? Let's give it up for 6 weeks. Let's see what happens. She did, and completely turned things around. And as a matter of fact, her blood test came back and she was getting rid of the inflammation. She was also getting rid of the insulin resistance and a few other things. Well, guess why? She started hydrating appropriately instead of going for that short-term fix of whatever it was that she was drinking. And, there's just dumb beverages, right? Those, and solidly all of them, those energy drinks, the sodas and the juices and all of that stuff is just garbage. And I'll tell you, hydration is a thing. And if we get on top of our hydration, then let me tell you, hydration here in Colorado, and I don't have anything in front of me to drink. Boy, do I need that. But it's so interesting, isn't it? How this all just plays out that there's a choice there too. What am I going to choose? What am I going to do? It is key too, Flynn. And I mean, we also know that there's no fat loss really without hydration because it takes hydration is the processing of all of this to get this through your body. You can't do it if your body is constantly thirsty. Correcting poor sleep habits is another thing. It takes pain to say, I'm not going to stay up and watch all this stuff and instead go to bed early. Think about it. I mean, we're looking at the trade-offs here. all of the trade-offs. Moving instead of sitting all day, there's some pain. Boy, those muscles get sore. Can I tell you? I'm going to tell you about that. So it's not about sunshine and roses and zero conflict all the time. It's just not. As a matter of fact, there's always more to have to accept if we're going to make the changes that we want, because that's where growth comes from, right? Look what Joanne said. I prefer healthy food and hydration over doctors and medication. Preach, sister. Absolute. That's 100%. That's the truth. And so when we understand this, we understand that growth in that we're support and love each other's evolution, because if we're changing, we're going toward the more healthy option. And we're starting to thrive, not just survive, but thrive, getting better, paying that little bit of cost, but getting better along the way. We change, we become. It's that simple. We don't change, we still become, and maybe it's the version of ourselves we don't want. Ask yourself those questions, because as we get into this, we have to recognize that this is exactly what it's always all about. And acceptance in that change is messy, and it can push us hard into new and uncomfortable territory. And I'll tell you what, your amygdala needs to take a seat, because she's going to be screaming at you the whole way and saying, come on, we always have popcorn at night. What are you talking about? This is movie time. Get on it. This is what we do. And when we find this out, when we found this out, we start understanding we've got to pay the cost. We suddenly find ourselves more willing to pay the cost, because the payoff on the end is greater than that momentary 10 minutes of enjoying that popcorn. Because let's just face it with popcorn, right? You don't just eat a couple of handfuls, you eat a whole bowl of popcorn. I'm talking about my popcorn habit. I'm just going to go with my example. And let me just say this. I only enjoy it for the first 5 minutes. And then after that, it's just like, Why pay that cost? I don't know. I mean, you're going to get it in spades and inflammation. That's a promise. And so if we get real about this, we recognize that every single decision in our lives has a cost attached, whether it's good for us or not. Everything has a cost. It's either momentary pain or it's prolonged pain. It's either short-term gain or it's long-term gain. It's either or. And we can look at that. And if we're wise, we need to start doing that, because that's going to prompt us and propel us toward a better decision. This is the whole thing for me. I mean, I want to live till I'm 120. You can't do that just deciding to start at 90. You got to start a little earlier. So, what the most important question to ask yourself, though, during this whole process, it comes to this idea that you have to be willing to pay in some form. That's the most important thing. What are you willing to pay? What are you willing to pay? It's a hard one to ask, really, because it really does get in your face, doesn't it? And this is the secondary part about the whole thing. The payment is a little painful. It's also going to include, are you ready for it? Buckle up, girlfriends. Suffering. We suffer from that. We suffer with the sore muscles if it's starting an exercise program, right? Yes, we're doing all the right things. And yes, it's good for us, but it's not pain-free. There's suffering involved. I will tell you, trying to get my butt up out of the chair when my thigh muscles just killing me, right? I know what that's about. So do you, right? It's part of the whole thing. It's your lift ticket expense, shall we say, how much it costs for a lift ticket around here, looking for the bargains, looking for the deals, but still you're never going to be able to shortcut it that way unless somebody's going to give you a free pass. And guess what? Pretty much those don't exist. You pay the cost. You pay the cost. And you pay the cost when you transition. Anybody know about this from this week, first sprint, or maybe one that you haven't done in a long time? You paid the cost. Keto flu, right? You transition from being a sugar burner to being a fat burner. There's a cost that happens. You feel like you literally have the flu. It's no fun. It lasts for a minute, but it does go away. But the fact is that it happens. And for most of us, we don't get away from that, but that's the cost that you pay. And you pay the cost for any healthy new habit that you're beginning, because it's new and it's weird. and it's difficult for your amygdala to take, any kind of change into place. And you very likely need to also drop an old habit and replace it with this brand new shiny new habit. And that's a little bit of a struggle for our little risk aversion brains, isn't it? So really we're talking about is which pain are you going to choose? It's not that you get a free pass out of the pain. You get to choose your pain. Do you want the short-term pain or do you want the long-term pain? That is big time the question. And we need to be brave enough to go there. We need to be asking ourselves those hard questions. Otherwise, what are we going to do? We're going to pony up to whatever's easiest. We're going to cop out. We're going to always run to the comfort zone, and we're not going to get the change that we want in our lives. You know, I remember, and y'all probably heard these stories before, of somebody who all they were waiting to do, all they were waiting for was to, work their whatever years so that they could retire so that then they can start living their lives. My father-in-law was like that, and he retired, and then he was pretty quickly got into the dementia zone and had Alzheimer's. How sad is that? And he lived for that retirement and everything else that's the only thing that he could think of. But what about the in-between time when we're living? What about making those choices so that you are set up for when that retirement time does come, that you can have that healthy, vibrant life that you want? Isn't that what we want? Isn't that what we're about? We can't put off and wait until we have to set ourselves up for that. So I'm telling you, I think this is also something that you might want to, you want to talk about something, and you want to start journaling a little bit more. Why don't you put this into your journal and say, which pain am I willing to pay? Short term or long term? What do I want this to look like? What do I want my life to look like in 10, 20, 30 years? So for me, it's just a matter of reverse engineering. That's exactly what I did with the whole Hashimoto's thing because my life was on fire. Health-wise, I was on fire. I had pain everywhere. I had pain with everything. I was in probably the height of my misery. But I recognized that without those changes that were going to be difficult, that were going to be hard, that I would have to suffer through, that I would have to just barrel through. Without them, I was not going to get to my goal. I was not going to be able to reverse engineer anything. And as a matter of fact, I was going to be looking at more crippling pain in my future, more debilitation in my future. The question then came down to it, what's your hot desire? What do you hotly desire more than anything? And that can help mitigate some of this pain because then you're willing to pay. Yeah, I'm willing to pay. I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to suffer. Yeah, suffer. The word suffer, such a horrible word, but it's the truth. And if we can make, friends with that world and understand that this is part of it, then off we go. We're willing to pay the cost. So I got 4 things for you that will help you. And it's helping me right now, yesterday and today and going forward to really help process this pain and this suffering of the choices that I'm making as I go forward. And the first one is creating my system. I've got 3 things in my system. I strongly suggest that you have the same things in there because this is the thing that moves the needle. It is not about willpower, by the way. Willpower is short term. And if you study willpower, there's been a bunch of studies about willpower. It's pretty unreliable. These people with, ironclad willpower that you think, oh, I admire you. Look at the willpower you have. More likely, they've set up systems instead. They've set up an environment that's curated, that completely supports the life that they want to live, their environment. So that's the 3 things is one, their keystone basically things is a morning and an evening ritual. If you have our Take Back Your Life journal, you've seen this. We create them in order to have bookends for the day. This is how we start and this is how we end. And those things seem to help the middle go smoothly, at least for me. Secondarily, is to piggyback a new habit on a already established habit. So, in other words, if you've decided, I'm going to start getting into the habit of the 4-minute workout for starters, right? Sure. Where are you going to put it? How's it going to land? Where are you going to start putting them into your system? Well, I did it with something that I already did. I would start my coffee pot in the morning and empty the clean dishwasher. And I would empty that clean dishwasher, and then I'd earn that cup of coffee. When I added in the 4-minute workout, I took that dishwasher habit and said, okay, but you can't have that coffee until you've done a 4-minute workout. And it got done. And that's how I established that habit, because the establishment of that new habit was very much all about the old habit first, which triggered the thought, it's time to do that 4-minute workout. You see where I'm going with all of that? And then, of course, having that curated environment. I just can't, if Oreos tempt you, what are you doing with them in your house? Or if you have other people in your home that are eating them, then you figure out their situation and you create your own pantry that's just for you, that's curated for your success. That kind of thing. We can do it anywhere. We can do it with anything. As long as we have the hot desire to do it, we can create it. And then we follow through with it, we write it down, etc. I mean, these are all the things that we just build into the system so that it happens. Number 2, speaking of hot desire, but this is a huge clue of what it is and who it is that you want to become when you really want something in your life. And this is also a flag in your life to focus on that thing and not just the desire to do it. Do you see what I'm going with all of that? See yourself as that woman. See yourself without the Hashimoto's. That's what I did. I saw myself vibrant. I saw myself in the way that I wanted to be. I saw myself in situations that required a lot of energy, not just laying on the couch, which is what I was doing most of the time. I saw myself in a new and vibrant light. And that's what we have to do with our hot desire, is put ourselves in that, because who it is that we want to come is very much all about the hot desire. But we can't get and attain our hot desire if we just say, oh, I just wish, I just want. And wouldn't it be nice? Because that's not going to get us there. That's just going to make us bitter and angry and resentful. So what we need to start asking ourselves is, what do I really want? And what am I willing to let go of? And what's driving this hot desire, right? What is it? And if we start focusing on that and going after that, it changes the whole thing and it changes the focus. That's the ticket right there. Number 3 is to get really good at a few things, So more isn't always better, and we don't need to pile on. We just need to understand that what it is that we want to do in our lives, we need to figure out a few keystones. Curating your environment, for example, like I was talking about, piggybacking your habits, all that kind of stuff, it makes a big difference. So we make commitments to ourselves. And by the way, the Hot Milk 30, have y'all read that commitment contract? Did it just light your brain on fire? There's a reason for that, because that commitment contract is drilling it down and sending it home. And it's pushing the button of hot desire. Do you want this? Then let's go. This is what it's about. And that's what it's all, that's how you create that feeling of accomplishment. You say, yeah, that's what I'm willing to do. That's what I'm willing to set up so that I can get out there and start making it happen. And that is how we get good at pursuing the life that we want to lead. Number 4 is to thrive and not strive. Make it easy on yourself. Allow what is supposed to be yours and be available for that. I am available for fill in the blank. I'm available for good health. I'm available for the vibrancy that I want in my life. I am available for. And watch what happens as you start saying these kind of intentional I am statements, and how it starts to pull together this notion and this idea of what those things are. We don't have to work our butts off for it as much as we have to be available for it and make the time to switch some things out. It can be that simple. That doesn't mean easy, button easy. I mean, don't you wish? It does mean, however, that this is how we have to go about looking to do something. And the thing that's interesting is that when we start going out of this whole striving mode where it's just never enough and it's so hard and it's just you know. Yeah, pain and suffering, sure. But when walking around and saying it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard, it's so hard, it gets harder and harder and harder because that's the thing that we're emphasizing. And that's what we're telling our reticular activating system to do. Go pick up some more hard activities for me, the ones that make me complain and whine, right? Instead of saying, okay, pain and suffering, okay, I can deal with that. I mean, if you've ever given birth, right? Pain and suffering. But at the end, you get this gorgeous little baby, beautiful little child. It's worth it. We're willing to put the thing in there. But I'm going to tell you what gets you to this place of contentment and thriving, and that is gratitude. Guess what? Gratitude's free. It's quite simple. Take a look around. Just become a little bit more attentive and start to notice what your life is about. I'm sure you have some crappy stuff in there too. But what is your focus going to be? How about some gratitude? And when I say this, please understand, I'm not saying dismiss all the yuck out of your life and pretend. I'm not saying fake it till you make it. I'm saying be it till you see it and love the life that you have. And you just cannot live with gratitude and anger. Those two emotions cannot live together. How about that? I think that's just such a wonderful thing. And three things that I suggest that you do is to write it out, express it to your people, and live it and feel it. Especially when you're feeling kind of this, just some, maybe a cloud or some yuck. Just bring it in and just say, I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for that. Because it helps to shine the light on the things that we need the light shown on, right? So when we enjoy and love, gratitude is always present, always. And keep that in mind when you're paying the cost, because the cost, it needs to be paid. But if we do it with gratitude and so much love in our hearts, just think about the blessing that you can be to somebody else's life. Think about how you can light someone up today and be that blessing. I will tell you, for me, and I hope for you, that as you're going through and maybe reverse engineering some of this idea and making decisions on what it is that you want to go forward and what cost you're willing to pay, what suffering you're willing to take, that you start making long-term decisions that are going to light you up and create the vibrancy that you want in your life. How about that instead? I think that's the way to go. I really do. And I hope you do too. I hope to see you. I don't know about tomorrow. I think it might be a replay tomorrow. I might be out on the slopes, y'all, paying the cost of the lift ticket. And but I will definitely see you for sure on Thursday live. And don't forget, get those questions in to support@savingdinner.com. Question for Leanne on Friday, so we can get your questions answered. I'd love to do that for you for this Friday. Peace be with you. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. Check back for new episodes. If you missed the live show, you can always watch the replay. You can find Saving Dinner on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Until next time, pinkies up.